All right. Here we are, man. Do you want to start this one off or do I?
Keep going. You're good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back, listeners, to another episode, Kings of Hearts, with my brother Yanukwa and I.
Yep.
And been a minute, I'd say, since we've done a one-on-one.
Yep.
Do you remember when? I remember when.
I don't remember the exact date, but I remember you were chirping me about saying yours truly and the king.
February, man.
Yeah.
February.
Was it February?
It's February since our last. Crazy how time goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
And so today we're going to be jamming out about the topic of work versus rest versus play.
Juicy.
Juicy. You got your notes ready, my man. But before we get into it, shall we take a breath?
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this right now, feel free to join us on this breath. Taking a pause, practicing grounding with the breath. So let's do this. Feet planted on the ground or make contact with the earth. Relax your body. Deep inhale in together on 3, 2, 1. Amen. You know what, bro? What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for in this moment or these days? So when I start off, let's pace
Gratitude.
Start with gratitude.
I'm grateful for my attitude as of late. It's been very
That's cool.
upbeat and refreshing, and just my ability to catch myself when I'm not operating at my highest frequency, and then to know which tools on the tool belt to use to get me to a higher frequency.
Wow.
And then to watch it expand and be like, yeah, this is what it looks like to do the work.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Take a note of that. That's a great topic one day on the podcast. Attitude.
Right?
I think it's like you've been reading some Stoic philosophy, haven't you?
Not reading, but I've been listening. On YouTube and just yeah.
The Stoics, they talk a lot about attitude.
Mm-hmm.
They talk a lot about, in general, things that are in our control. Have you noticed that? The Stoics love to preach about pay attention, dedicate attention, energy to what's in your control. And one of those things is attitude. It's beautiful, man. Sharon.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Yeah. Your turn.
Gratitude. I'm grateful for the lifestyle that I've built for myself. That I had the bravery enough to choose it, to sit with it, to let it unfold. Speaking of control, to manage and handle what is in my control and to let go of the rest, surrender. And I feel like those aspects have attributed to the kind of lifestyle that I'm living at the moment. So grateful. And, if I were to just add one thing to that, there's so much space in my life, like spaciousness. There's so much free time. I messaged you earlier saying that I was bored. Okay. And it's not like someone did that to me. I created a life with a lot of space. And one of the things that comes with some space is boredom. So bringing it back to gratitude for me instead of resisting the boredom.
Yeah. And boredom is a beautiful place to be if you allow yourself.
Yeah. It triggers a lot of people though, because it's doing nothing. And in this day and age society, doing nothing is unproductive, and
Yeah.
unproductive is unworthy in
Mhm.
some cases.
Yeah.
So this
Yep.
is maybe a good segue into the conversation, right?
It's a great segue.
Yeah. Again, I'm just going to circle back. The topic is working versus resting versus playing, or you can swap out working with doing,
Mhm.
versus resting versus playing.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think the biggest reason for me and why this is an important topic for men, it's because we don't know how to dance with those three things. I would say that we try to navigate that. However, a lot of the times we either end up on one extreme or the other,
Yep.
all in on doing and work and then burning out, or all in on playing and putting aside responsibilities. Our integrity goes out the window.
Mhm.
Same with rest in that, under that same umbrella. So
Said. Well said.
yeah, anything come up for you around that? Just
I,
initially here?
I think it's a beautiful preface and a beautiful introduction. And I really love that you brought the awareness to, you can replace the word work with doing, right? With busyness, with doing. And yeah, I feel I know that hits every man in the heart or in the feels, you know? So I think it's great.
Yeah,
This applies to every man.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how do you want to approach this? Should we go deep with each one first and then tie it all back at the end, and maybe some practical next steps or tips or advice for
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah. I definitely, yeah. Let's break it down in each separate container so it's
Yeah.
not messy and all over the place for our
Yeah.
listeners.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about which one to start with.
Just go with work. We'll go with work.
Work/doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You go first.
Okay. That's fine. I think what comes up for me right away is, us guys, we're conditioned, we're programmed to think, to feel, to believe that our worth is attached to what we produce externally.
Amen.
And
Good point.
that is a beautiful thing if it has a container, right? If it doesn't have a container and it's able to swing to whatever polarity it swings, and that's where it gets unhealthy. That's where it gets, I don't know if I want to say the word toxic, but I'll use the word unhealthy, right? And so it's not so abstract. I'll just say, like, it's a beautiful thing for a man to be driven, to be focused at his job, at his purpose, at his work, whatever that season is. However, if that gets in the way of, of you, in this case, rest and play, that's a disconnect. If work comes before family consistently, where they don't feel your love, they don't see your love, that's a disconnect, right? If it's getting in the way of your mental health, in this case, we are a men's mental health organization, so we got to talk about your mental health. If work is getting in the way of that, that's a disconnect, And so for those of you that are listening, like, there's a couple pointers right there. Like, if your work is getting in the way of, let's just call it those three, you have some looking at to do. And I want to preface and say, before I hand it off to you, Andy, like, your work could be God's work. It could be Mother Teresa's work, saving lives, cleaning up all our oceans. Like, you name it. It could be the thing that this species needs to move us forward. Amen. And you still need to make time, king, for rest and for play. So
Well said.
I'll leave it at that for now. Your turn.
Oh man, like you hit so many really good points. I don't even know what to add. We're done.
Okay, next one, go.
Next one. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, man. Like the thoughts that are coming up in me right now is how it's so ingrained in our. I would even go as far as saying like our DNA, our ancestry, as men, to provide. It's the archetype of the provider. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and everything, whether it's beautiful or not, needs to have boundaries.
Yep.
And we need to challenge. And here's the thing about Kings of Hearts and our initiative and our mission with men's mental health is we're here now in 2022 to break the cycle. We've said this before. We're here to heal the generation. We're here to step up in a new way. And a part of that commitment is to look at the way we show up in this area, to celebrate the fact that our work or doing is a very beautiful part of our essence as a human being. It's a beautiful thing to celebrate, maybe as a part of our ancestry. Maybe it's something that was passed down from our fathers or our grandfathers or our grandfather's father. And here's the thing, just because our father or his dad showed up a certain way about work in 1970 or in 1940 doesn't mean that that same way is going to work now.
Preach.
A part of our awareness, Kings of Hearts' first pillar, is to ask ourselves these kind of questions, such as, is my father's way of working my way of working?
Yeah.
What are the benefits, the highs of the way that my environment or my parent showed up, and what are the ways that aren't as valuable or self-serving? And it's just like feedback. Take what works, leave the rest.
Yep.
And so this is a really important thing. And I think that there's a misconception sometimes that, and we'll get to this when we talk about rest and play, that if we take our foot off the gas pedal, that we're going to lose or we're going to fall behind. That's a legitimate mental story, is that if I take my foot off the gas pedal, then the engine stops running. Then the world stops spinning. The family will be hungry. Fill in the blank, whatever story you have as a man.
Yeah.
We have to challenge our stories, our mental stories. This realm that we're talking about, it isn't, some areas are black and white and some areas are not. We have to be open to challenging those mental stories, those mental narratives. And it's a part of reprogramming and rewriting the story of how we show up as men. Essentially, if I were to macro it to why KOH even exists. And to have this dialogue with yourself or bring it to other men in your life, that's good leadership. You're challenging yourself, you're bringing it to other men, you may inspire them as well. And there in which we would have over consistency and an amount of time, a movement, a change.
Yep.
That's me, man.
It's great. It's
anything stand out for you there? We can keep on dialoguing about work a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love that you brought up, the conscious king, the conscious man is going to look at what is serving him, right? And as you were sharing, Marcus Aurelius popped up and it was just like, is this necessary? Right? In every situation, ask yourself, is this necessary? right? And even just that time and space to ask that question sometimes is what you need, right? That awareness piece. And I know if more men were willing to do that, our reality would look different.
Mm-hmm.
Our reality would look different because, to your point, my dad did it this way, so I'm doing it that way. My grandpa did it this way, so I'm doing it. And it's like, okay, my dad, my grandpa lived in a different time that I'm living in now. Is it possible that maybe that may not work sitting here in 2022? And if you do that audit and it comes out as healthy, then awesome, you move forward. And if you do that audit and it comes out as unhealthy, then we need to pivot. We need to be willing to reimagine in this context, what does work look like? So that's what comes up.
Yeah, it's really good, man. And so much of it is unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole father grandfather thing is when we're kids, we learn by watching.
Yep.
We learn by watching, we learn by hearing, feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, like we may have picked some stuff up that we didn't even know we picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's the awareness piece, right? And you're right, like something that you exemplify really well. And I can't even come up with a specific example. I just know that you do this. Is you would check in, or you would ask a fellow brother or friend to check in, and if you after the check in and it's like, no, I'd like to still continue working, this feels good for me, then by all means,
Yeah, go do it.
go do it. Don't be hard on yourself, or don't
Mm-hmm.
question yourself, or don't doubt, but do pause.
Yes.
And if you checked mind, body, spirit, check in with rest, check in with play, check in with family, check in with money, check in with health.
Yep.
And if all lights are green,
go
onwards and upwards, King. Keep going.
High fives and butt taps, right? Like we say.
Why change what's working?
Exactly.
Keep going then.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, dude. And then the other thing that I really love that you shared is just, some of these narratives that we have around, for example, if I take my foot off the pedal, then let's just call it the money's not coming in, right? That is a real conundrum to be in, right? And I get that. And I don't necessarily have an answer to that. However, I just want to say, like, there is something to be said about that fear coming up in a man, right? And the one thing I would suggest, invite, are you doing it by yourself? Is it just, is this a lone wolf attitude? Because if it is, what's the cost?
Yeah.
Right? And what comes up is, if you have a partner, can you guys share that responsibility together? One. And then the other layer is, what's that saying? You want to go fast, you run alone. You want to go far, run with a pack.
Yeah.
King, you got a pack? You got a unit?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just want to speak to that.
It's really good. I like that. And it speaks to me directly because I'm notorious for taking on a lot and then having a mental story that it's all on me and not asking for help. And so the work, which is completely beautiful and fine, ends up being this thing that burns me out mentally when I could have just asked for help. And it would have just taken 25, 30% off the top.
Yep.
And then we're all happy. So that's a huge one. That's a huge one.
Yeah,
it's
man.
not just anything that it's actually a really important point, which I'm so happy that you brought up because it didn't cross my mind, man. Well done.
You're welcome.
Something else that came up for me while you were speaking there, you touched on the conundrum of money. Like some men, they do need to work a lot. Because if they don't, maybe a certain season or period they're in financially. It's just, you can't afford to not work. Something that I want to say about that is really discern the difference between fear. What is fear and what is reality in that sense?
Mhm.
Does that make sense? It's like, how much of this is you just being afraid of that happening versus it's actually happening?
Mhm.
Because if it's just a fear of running out of money and now you're overworking and you're just doing it from a place of fear versus actually you're in a conundrum, that's two different things.
Yep. Love that.
It's two different things. So we have to really check in on that fear piece.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's a difference between reacting from fear versus just being prepared from love or from consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm. This is good. Yeah, as you were sharing, two other things popped up. And one of them is around, men, it is okay if, how do I say this? I always say this, seasons, everything depends on the season you're in. And if you're in a season of planting and tilling the soil, I get it. There's work that needs to be done. Go all out, go ham. And just like Andy said earlier, like anything that's beautiful, it needs structure. It needs boundaries, right? So know that, okay, fine. You know what? I'm putting in work from January to March. I'm going all in. And yes, it may not be balance. I'm fully aware of that. And then guess what? Come April, May, June, you have to let the soil do its thing.
You
So
can't
it's
overwork the
naturally, you
soil.
can't overwork the soil. There's only so much you can do on the soil. So therefore, the season will change. And as long as there's a willingness to acknowledge that, then I'm all for you going ham, going all in. Just recognize the season you're in. And that is a beautiful place to be as well. So there's that. I don't know if you want to speak to that at all, Andy, before I go on to the next thing.
Go on to the next thing.
And then the next thing I was going to say is, oh my goodness, it's leaving me now. No, come back.
You want to pause for a moment? Maybe it'll come back.
Oh, what I was going to say is similar to what you shared earlier, was with regard to work, men specifically, let's make sure we are not hiding behind our work so we don't need to address other things in our lives.
Ooh.
Because I get it. You can use the argument, hey, babe, hey, homie, I'm at work. And in our culture, in our society, that's okay. That's a valid answer. However, if you're always at work and you're not with your little one, disconnect to me. If you're always at work and your romantic partner is telling you, hey, I want your presence, I want your energy, I want your, you fill in the blank, and your excuse, and I'm putting my hands in quotation marks, or your answer, your response is work, that's a disconnect, King.
Yeah.
If your body is asking you to slow down, to rest, and we'll get to that, and for you, every single time it's, no, I got to be at work. Like this needs to get done. Like I need, once again, disconnect,
Yeah.
And once again, your work could be cleaning up all our oceans. And I thank you for that. And I love the work and the purpose and the job that you are doing. Thank you. And yet what I want for you is I want your soul to know that it is loved. I want your soul to know that it can rest and play, and it's not tied to what you do externally. So I'll stop there.
It's really good, man. You're speaking to a large mass of people in this regard. And this conversation we're using men, and we're speaking to an entire an entire society that has been programmed to work.
Yep.
Literally, capitalism is built off of work, profit.
Dude, isn't it crazy? 52 weeks in a year. And we're supposed to work 50 of them.
Yeah. On average, yeah. Yeah.
That's mind-blowing to me, dude.
There's an exercise that you know of from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of those habits being begin with the end in mind.
Yeah.
It's a powerful exercise, and you should look into it. I won't butcher Stephen Covey's work here. But I do want to speak to you a little bit, because you could really think about it for a moment. If you're on your deathbed, would you be saying, "Oh, I wish I worked more"?
Exactly.
No, I would challenge and say you would probably be saying, "I wish I had more time for me," or "I wish I attended my son's baseball game," or "I wish I cuddled a little bit longer in the morning with my beloved," or "I wish I took care of my health, prioritized that as much as I did with work."
Yep.
Maybe I wouldn't be laying here in the hospital bed if that wasn't the case. So, for what it's worth, begin with the end in mind.
Full stop.
Full stop. I was gonna leave it at death for you guys. Okay. So dark and awesome.
Yeah.
And like, okay, you want to talk about Stoic philosophy? They do this. I bet you Stephen Covey, the guy who wrote the book, he was a Stoic philosopher in some regard.
Yeah, low key.
Or at least he was inspired by the greats, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, Plato. Begin with the end in mind. Use death to contemplate ways that you can live life better now.
Yep. Yep.
I feel like that was an episode.
Yeah, right? You'd end it here.
It's good. We must move on.
Okay,
ready?
Next one. Yeah, I'm ready.
It's good. Okay, so, and by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, and if you have a question or a comment, just drop it in the comments below. I always wanted to say that. YouTubers always say that. I had to. Yeah.
Here we go.
So yeah, next one, rest.
Good old rest.
Good old rest. Good old rest.
Yeah.
What's a really common saying that I disagree with? It goes something like, why sleep so much? You can sleep when you're dead.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stay awake. Just work some more, or party some more. Party hard. Play. Go nuts. Drugs, late nights, fuck it. Or stay up late, work, overtime. Graveyard shift. You sleep when you're dead. Fuck, do I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think is underneath that sentence when somebody says that?
Wow, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Is anything coming up for you?
No, it just came through me to ask.
Just came through you to ask? Yeah. I feel like it was a piece that you mentioned earlier around distracting yourself. Right? Like this is all just reflection in the moment right now, but I feel like someone who needs to party so hard and doesn't want to sleep or rest, a person that works really hard doesn't want to sleep or rest. I feel like they're avoiding, I feel like that man would be avoiding something that he's not wanting to feel.
Yeah.
And when you get rest, it's a time of pause. It's a time of stillness. It's a time of contemplation,
Yep.
whether that's just before you go to sleep or in the morning when you wake up. It's a time of emptiness, stillness. Lots of thoughts can come through in that experience. Lots of feelings can come up in that experience.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why people avoid rest, is because they'll have to sit with themselves.
Preach. And I'm so glad you alluded to this, Andy, because now I'm going to jump. Now I'm going to go off. Rest does not mean just sleep. Men, listen to that. Rest does not mean only sleep. Rest can be you taking 5 minutes to just be still, to just let your body do nothing. And you are still whole. You are still complete. You are love. That is rest.
Yeah.
Rest can look like, and this is why I love meditation or a light physical practice, specifically yoga, of just being in your body and allowing your heart, your soul to reveal universal truths to you. If you just give yourself the space and time, that is rest.
I like that a lot, man.
So I just want to reflect that to you, because a lot of people, and I'll say for myself, when I was old Uniqua, just thought rest meant sleep, which is part of the equation. And rest has so many other textures. You can be with somebody and it can be restful.
Yeah.
That
it doesn't mean solitude. It doesn't mean
solitude. And that's another texture as well. And so if this is your first time hearing that, awesome. And now it's time, as we always say at King Hearts, to reimagine what could rest look like for you.
Yeah. The thing that's coming up for me, interestingly enough, is like rest as an acronym, REST. R, rejuvenate.
Yeah.
E, energize.
Great.
S, space.
Okay.
T, time.
I was going to say tranquility.
I had thought about that too, actually. Let's say tranquility. I like that better.
Yeah.
Do you like E? Is that energize?
Yeah. It's a form of, letting you
You're building up,
charge your battery. Yeah.
you're recharging your battery.
So to speak,
Yeah.
Or even actually just unplugging, just literally unplugging, so it's not using any energy. You can just be.
Yep.
And I mean, like, in one sense, we don't have that capability of just turning it all off. However, if you're looking at it from like a phone or electronic, or just being offline, since most of us, I'm not going to say most of us, but some of us that are online all the time with technology, it's like, just turn everything off.
And Uniqua, dare I say, dare I say, if you don't choose your rest, it will be chosen for you.
Dude, the body is so good for that.
It'll tell you.
It's so good for that.
It'll tell you, and and here's the thing, it'll tell you, and you have to make the choice. Because if you get the signs and you're consciously, actively not choosing to listen to them, it'll still be chosen for you, and maybe a not so pleasant way.
In a not so pleasant way. Exactly.
Dare I say.
Dude, that's so true, man. And the body is such a beautiful tool and machine that just does the work. It does the work. And it's like, which is why we need to sleep. Like, I remember saying that when I was younger, and my dad was like, young man, like, there are systems that only happen in your body when you are asleep.
Yeah.
So when you don't give your body sleep or the rest or the stillness that it needs, certain mechanisms only come online when you are asleep.
Yeah.
So you're actually affecting your well-beingness on a whole when you're not getting sleep, if not enough sleep.
Yeah.
And ever since I heard that, I was like, yo, let's prioritize sleep.
Yeah. So what does that look like for you when you prioritize sleep? Just sort of on the topic.
Having a bedtime routine.
Oh, nice. Which is?
Ooh, I can't give you all my secrets. I'm joking. um, and I'll just preface and say right now, I make it fun. So, guys, for those of you listening, it doesn't have to be this rigid, like beep boop, beep boop, it's bedtime. Like, make it
Yes.
fun, make it playful. And I mean, we're gonna get to play here in a minute. Not in a minute, but you know what I mean. However, for me, like for example, my bedtime ritual is like, yo, come 8:30, 9 o'clock, like
Yeah.
all the lights are off for the most part. We got dim lighting. You know, my bedroom is tidy, smells good. I've cleaned my face, if not showered already, brushing my teeth. Depending on how I feel, light a candle or incense. I got a sage diffuser, so put that on maybe. Just set the environment so it's cozy. Make sure my room is a little bit cooler. And then depending on whether or not I'm in, how do I say this? A slower frequency. I don't know. Depending on whether or not I'm calm or not. If I'm calm, I can put on some music and just within like 2 minutes, I'm dead to the world. And if I'm not, like I'll like phone by this time, phone is away and I'll read. I'll read something 10, 15 minutes. And that definitely just makes me go into shutdown mode because I've just trained my body to know at this time when we're reading, it's shutdown time. So
Yeah.
so that's me. How
Yeah.
about
Really.
you?
Yeah. That's like, so yeah, with like sleeping or resting? Yeah.
We're talking about sleeping or resting?
You're talking about sleeping, but are you asking
Yeah.
me about sleeping or resting?
I'm asking you the exact same question you asked me.
Yeah. My like sleep routine,
Yeah.
rituals, all that stuff.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, man. I like to turn off all artificial light,
Hmm.
like overhead lights and any blue lights, devices. I try my best. It's hard,
Yep.
but I try my best to turn off devices, computer screens, phones at a certain time. I don't have them with me. They're sitting over, I think, at the other counter there, but I have blue light blocking glasses. I wear those after sunset. So if
Ooh,
there's
that's
any,
so cool.
if there are any, I should have had them close by to show the YouTube peeps because they could see it on the video. I like to make sure that I have some nice music in the back as well, some softer stuff, soft jazz. Throw on some binaural beats,
Yeah.
frequency 144 hertz or 132 hertz. One of the two is really good. Gets your brain in like theta brain waves, which is a relaxation brainwave. Making sure my body is cooler in temperature. So sometimes that's turning on the air conditioning in the room or taking a hot shower.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you didn't know this, if you take a hot shower, your body cools down. And if you take a cold shower, your body will warm up. So if you want to go into bed cool, take a hot shower.
Mm-hmm.
Because people think, oh, if I take a hot shower, my body's hot. The biology doesn't work that way, actually. It works the opposite, polarity.
Magic.
Yeah. This is a biohacking episode from the Kings of Hearts. And yeah, and sometimes it varies depending
Yeah.
on my body. Like I like to just check in with myself a lot. Like you said earlier, you know, is my body really high energy at the moment or not?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's my basic, call it, sleeping routine.
Yeah.
In the morning, I have an alarm clock,
Mm-hmm.
and I allow myself one snooze,
Mm-hmm.
no more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to put my phone a little bit further away from me, so I have to get up. Because if I get up, it gives me a moment to be like, there's this window of like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
is my body telling me, hey Andy, go and rest just for a little bit longer, you need it, or like you just get going, you're
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So I create that pause for myself, literally just by putting my phone a little bit further away from me.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think there's also such thing as too much rest, like, sorry, not rest, too much sleep,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
too much sleep, and too much rest,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
to know what our boundaries are as well.
Yep.
And really check in with yourself. Are you a man that is like, we talked about work a lot. We're basically speaking in a sense where the man is an overworker, but there's
Mm-hmm.
also men who are over resters,
Yep.
you know, guys who just lay around all day, Netflixing and chilling,
Mm-hmm.
and you put your responsibilities to the side. So my question to you, if you're listening to this right now, is what are you? Are you a man that is an overworker? Are you a man that is an overrester? Or are you a man that's an overplayer?
Yep.
Because if we don't have a relationship with boundaries, any one of those three things can go in one direction or the other.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah. And so, yeah, like we talked a little bit about sleep, but there's other forms of rest. Like you said,
Yep.
there's other textures of rest. And maybe we can list off some other, like, what other ways do you rest?
Going for a walk. I find it
Nice.
very therapeutic. Going for a walk, sometimes by myself, just my thoughts and nothing. And then other times I just like to have music going in my ear.
Yeah.
You know, just and for me, when I go on those walks, I like to pick some softer, more, I don't want to say feminine music, but just, that music that pulls on the heartstrings, you
Yeah.
know, and it I don't want to say it forces me, it invites me to check in with my body, check in with my heart, how am I feeling, what's coming up. There are times where I'm like, oh wow, like I didn't know that thought was there, you know, or other times it's like, man, I need to go and reflect on that later,
Yeah.
or I need to go hash that thought out. So yeah, going for a walk is always a beautiful thing. Rest, having a bath is rest,
I love that.
and again, just being in the stillness,
Mm,
having a gentler, a softer practice, right?
yeah.
As it comes up for me. How about you?
I dig the walk thing. It's really good.
Mm,
I like to read things that are not too mentally stimulating.
mm,
Started reading a lot of fictional books and novels this year. Quite enjoy it.
mm.
Quite enjoy it. It takes me out of the working logic mind,
Yep.
allows my brain to just be imaginative, which feels nourishing to me.
Mhm, mhm.
Resting for me also looks like just enjoying quality food at home, like a nice home cooked meal.
Yes.
Maybe throwing on some music in the background, just cook up a nice meal. Yeah, I just like, I even like take a breath thinking about it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That to me is rest.
I resonate with that.
Yeah. Doing a light yoga class or something, like a yin yoga class. Active rest is also a thing.
Yep.
Something just very gentle,
Hmm.
not exerting your nervous system in any crazy way. Oftentimes people fall asleep in yin yoga classes.
Mm-hmm.
So relaxed, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some of mine there, man.
Mm-hmm. I'd say like the last ones that come up for me is just lying out in the sun.
Oh yeah.
Being out in the
How,
sun,
yeah.
you know, and I literally like I talk to my skin and I'm like, yo, pick up this energy. Like, absorb it. Here we go. Like we need this. So yeah, sitting out in the sun came up as you were talking.
And the one thing that I want to say too is, and this is maybe a challenge that I'm just going to put out to our listeners right now, is rest without your device.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be an advocate here of this, because we live in a world now where everything is on a computer or it's on the phone or an iPad or a television screen. We're basically cyborgs, and our phone is our part, is like one of our organs,
Mm-hmm.
or it's like another arm or a leg or something,
Yep.
and it takes us away from our humanity, our health. Because I've noticed in myself that if I'm resting, but I'm on my phone, an hour on my phone doing nothing versus an hour cooking or an hour meditating or doing breath work feels completely different.
Yep. Yep.
I think resting. Yeah.
That's a great caveat.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
The quality of our rest, right?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
quality of our rest. And
Yeah.
I would even say that quality of our rest will extend out to the quality of your work. If you get a quality rest and you show up back at work or doing whatever, or the doing part, you're going to do with fucking quality.
Yeah. How you do one thing is how you do everything, right?
Bang. So if you love working, if you love to be on purpose, and one of your values is to create quality, to serve with quality, then rest with quality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. That feels full to me.
Me too.
That's good. That's good.
Let's put a rest to that one.
Ha.
Aha.
So good.
All right.
So smart you are.
Yeah. But the next segment, let's be a little bit playful.
Okay.
Oh, you get it? Play?
I do. Of course. That's why I'm giggling. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Well
like
played.
That?
I do like that one. Those two were very well done.
But would you say the first one didn't work?
This guy. Wow. All three nailed.
Yes.
Podcast is done. Coming out today, guys. Cheers. Dude, you're on it today. I'll give you that. Normally, you guys, he's not. Today.
Whoa. Take that back. Hey, Brandon, can you cut that out? Thanks, bro.
Oh, man. All right. Playfulness.
Hey, play.
Yeah.
Like, first thing that comes to me is, and it's something I've learned in the past month, within the past month here, is play doesn't always mean something to do. Like, it doesn't always mean activity. It could just be a playful attitude or a playful state or energy that you bring to your day, or you bring to the moment. It doesn't mean that you have to go and do something around play. Just wanted to say that. I don't know if anything comes up for you.
No, I think that's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful texture to bring to play. And I would say that's definitely one component of play. Right?
Yeah.
That's one component, like to have a playful, youthful attitude, energy to whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? That's like, maybe I might even argue that's step one.
Yeah.
That's step one. And then step 2, 3, and 4 are actually doing something that is playful. Or, like even before you start playing internally, to have that type of attitude and energy and zest.
Yeah.
You know, people can feel that. And even if no one else is involved, whatever activity you do will just be a reflection of that playfulness that you have already cultivated inside. So I think
Yeah.
that's great. I think that's absolutely great.
So why do you think it's so important for men to incorporate play in whatever way?
Yeah.
Why do you think that's important for men to incorporate play in their life? Why can't it just be work and rest?
100%. I think play is almost the antidote to those two, right? Is the antidote. And if anything, it's what gives the other two more potent. I won't even say more, just it gives it potency, right? Your again, like your ability, if anything, I feel like your ability to play consistently in quality or with quality, you can then bring that into other areas of your life, especially your work. Like if you can bring play into your work, and maybe not physically, but that attitude, isn't that what we all want when we show up to our job or when we're doing a passion project, working on our purpose? We want people that have that playful attitude that you can get along with, that are jovial, that are like, hey, come and play in my sandbox. Okay. Like, don't we all want that intrinsically?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, so for me, I feel it is, if when we can play consistently in our lives, play hard, play smart, have fun, it just ripples into everything else in our lives.
Mm.
And people feel that, like just talking about it right now, like the energy, the frequency of play. I'm even smiling right now because I think about like whenever I'm playing, it's not like you're playing and you're like, hey guys, like Eeyore, like let's go play. Like, no.
Yeah.
You know, the energies of like SpongeBob. Oh my God, let's do it. Like everybody's my friend. Like, let's have fun. What are we working on? What are we doing? You can join in. It's like Oprah, you get a card, you get a card. And it's just, the energy is just, it's potent and it attracts. So that's what comes up for me. I'm probably going off the rails right now.
It's good. You referenced SpongeBob. It's good. And Eeyore. It's good.
So how about you?
Yeah. Yeah. I've always felt like play is good for the soul.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for the spirit. Otherwise, life would just be so serious all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Work and rest, rest and work, and then rest, and then work.
And even and even pay attention to like the tone of voice you have when you say all that. It doesn't sound like there's no room for play. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Play adds that energy, like you said. It keeps things light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not too serious. Like life is serious and not serious. It's like, hey,
Exactly.
we can celebrate. Like I think about celebration as a form of play. So the question here for all the listeners is like, when's the last time did you celebrate your achievements? When's the last time you celebrated your growth?
Guilty.
Guilty too.
I don't celebrate my growth.
Yeah, because sometimes growth has become this routine, almost just
get it done.
Patterned, just get it done. Just another task on the to-do list.
Yeah.
Whoa. And we got to take our own advice here, okay? Because when I come back to Calgary, we're gonna celebrate.
Yeah, man. Seriously. Yeah. That's beautiful, man. Thank you for reflecting that right now. You got to celebrate our growth as well.
We have to. Yeah.
Wow, that hits home a lot for me.
Yeah.
And I don't, if I'm being honest, I don't
Yeah.
remember the last time I celebrated my growth, especially my internal growth.
Yep. Yeah. 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 Totally. I know what you mean.
I don't know if
But,
I've
like
ever.
the play is associated. Also, think about this too. The play is associated with our inner child,
Mm-hmm,
inner
mm-hmm,
boy in this case. And if we're not celebrating his growth, his achievements, his what are we doing to that boy inside?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
How are we honoring that kid?
Mm-hmm.
So think about it like that. It's like
Yep.
it's good for the soul, it's good for the inner child. And oftentimes, just like rest does, it can fuel the work that you are already doing.
Mm-hmm.
It could remind you of your wins. Play celebration specifically around growth is a really good gut check on how far we've come.
Yep.
And I'd even say, are we grateful for everything that's transpired so far? To pause, to really celebrate that piece.
Mm-hmm.
This is landing with you, I could tell.
Yeah, it's great. It's so good. That play piece is potent.
So, do you want to add anything else to that piece, or?
Mm, I don't think so. I mean, if anything, I was gonna pivot and say like, don't play too much. Like, make sure you
Dude,
got.
we're on the same page because I was going to
Okay,
pivot. Yeah.
great. Yeah,
So speak to that a bit.
yeah. Just to say, guys, let's just be mindful of playing. Right? We live in a culture. Let's be frank. We live in a culture right now where you can get paid for playing.
Yeah.
Make a lifestyle of playing video games, whatever else that is online, which is play or is under the banner of play. Once again, there's a time and place for it all. And let's just make sure our play does not get in the way. And I'm saying this to men, of your purpose, of your work. And I'm not talking about JOB. I'm talking about that intergalactic reason you're here.
Cool. I like that.
Does that resonate?
Yeah, I didn't expect that. That was all. That was great. Intergalactic.
Yeah, right. That reason for why you're here on this planet, in this dimension, at this time. If you believe in time, that's another topic it's another conversation. But
Noted.
however, yeah, don't let play get in the way of your purpose, your work, why you're here.
Yeah. Yeah, like I always think about it. My mind is going to archetypes here for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the king's court, there's a jester.
Mm-hmm.
There's a jester. There's the entertainer, the guy that's like keeping things light. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a time when he goes too far.
Yep.
He maybe like throws like a pie at the queen on her coronation day.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if the jester would even be in the room on that day, but okay, maybe
Or
he
he
happens to be.
or he makes like a really out of line joke
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
at an awards ceremony.
Talking about the king or the jester still?
The jest.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You know what I'm talking about right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a comedian. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the jest.
Yeah.
Some might argue that he went overboard, but
Yeah. No, I hear you.
yeah, like I think that there's just a piece of consciousness again to be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what are my boundaries with play?
Yep.
How much is too much? How much is enough?
Yep.
Do you agree with this the line or the saying work hard, play hard? Do you resonate with that?
Yeah, because it's the same attitude. How you do one thing is how you do everything. right? And that just tells me that you are aware and cognizant. There's a time to play. There's a time to do work.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, that also just reaffirms to me seasons. You know what? Guess what? January to what? March, we were planting, we were putting in work, right? March to March, April, May, we let the soil till, right? Not till, we let the soil do its thing. The seeds germinated, whatever, right? And then, and I'm not a farmer, so I'm probably butchering all these dates. And then May, then June, July, August, right? We reap a harvest, right? And then the rest of the months, hypothetically, we play, we till the soil, and we do it again in January.
How do you think that? Because so do you feel like that saying "work hard, play hard" can be taken out of context, though?
Of course it can, like anything in life,
Yeah,
right?
we have to touch on that a bit
100%. I'm glad you did.
Because guys,
Glad you did. Because
you can have all the sayings.
You're right. Because look, the prince will take that and run with it, and it will become, and I'm saying this very intentionally, it'll become toxic behaviors.
Yeah.
Versus the king will take that and be like, yes, there is a time. And I don't know why Mufasa's coming up for me.
Yeah.
Now, there's a time to protect the herd. There's a time to spend time with your son. There's a time to talk to your council. There's a time to be with your queen. There's right?
Yeah.
King,
Mufasa.
are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Right? Can you have structure and boundaries around all of that? So then guess what? When you do show up to play, I can go ham. I can go hard. Because then I know, guess what? In an hour, responsibility, duty, leadership, the kingdom calls. And I'll put my play hat off and put on the other one and go ham there, bring the same energy and attitude.
And this is why it's important for every man to live by some sort of a code, right? Because I'm just going to use this as an example. If one of the pieces in your code is to be responsible, regardless of whatever I'm doing or partaking in, is that you will work with responsibility and you will also play with responsibility. Because I think that play hard line from that saying, one of the ways that it can be taken out of context is a green light to do whatever the hell you want just because you had a really good year working or something. I'm going to step out of my integrity and play in such a way where it's not even in line with who I am.
Facts.
You see it all the time. You see it in I would say probably a lot in corporation, in the corporation field, like the businessmen.
And as you share that, Andy, to me, then in those moments, you're not being a king. In those moments, you're not being true to your values and the virtues that you stand for. Because if you did, you execute your virtues, your values, your goals, your vision all the time.
So my challenge to the men is to really define what play hard means to you in the realm of as a king.
As a king. Preface, as a king. If you prince, you want to be a boy, that's different. I don't have anything for you there. I don't.
Yeah.
But if you want to hang out and think like a king, here we go.
Yeah, man. I don't have anything either, but I could speak to some prince energies like hookers and blow.
Oh man.
Or like spending $1 million for one night out.
Hey man, like if you have I don't know, because a part of me is like if you have the budget and the mindset, like as long as it's in the budget.
That's what I mean. A prince wouldn't give a crap about the budget.
Valid. Okay, touche then. Here we go.
He's got 2 million. He spends 1 million on one night. and he's just looking at his revenue, didn't even
Yeah.
think about profit. He's just taking off the revenue. It happens a lot, like guys think, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I made $1 million. I'm going to go spend $1 million now. But wait, you have costs. You have incurred costs. You have 700,000 worth of costs. Your profit is 300,000. You have 300,000 to spend, not 1 million, man. No, but we got to celebrate. We got to go hard. We worked so hard. We made $1 million. Work hard, play hard. Bro, slow down here. Of course, let's celebrate, but let's be meticulous. Let's be responsible.
Preach.
What's the budget? Like you said, like, what's the budget? A king would ask, what's the budget? A prince would be like, we'll make more money later. Fuck it. I'm swearing a lot in this episode. I want to remind me to put the explicit sign up for this episode. It's good.
Oh man, yeah, I'm fired today. It's great. I love it.
It's good.
Normally I'm the potty mouth, so it's good. It's good.
It's so bored all day, so it's just coming out. So much resting.
Oh man,
I have a playful energy right now.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But I'm aware. I'm not gonna throw down too many F-bombs or yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, I think like just to round this conversation off, is if you can find a really good harmony between those three in any situation, I think that's awesome. Like if you're at work or if you're doing something and you add an energy of play to it, and you know when to take breaks, you're operating all three at the same time.
Yep.
If you're resting and a part of your rest is to bring a little bit of joy in the equation, and you're structured with it, there's intentionality. Like, I'm going to do this rest without my phone. I'm going to sleep for 8 hours or 9 hours, or just if you have a good structure to it, I think that's a good rounded all three right there.
For sure.
And same with the play piece. It's like, okay, there's an element of play. When do we stop? Rest. The boundaries piece. Am I being responsible with this play as I am responsible in business?
Yep. Preach.
Across the board.
I love that.
Yeah.
And all of that affects your mental health, your well-being. And it all adds up.
And to be able to navigate all three is good leadership. It's King's leadership. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good leader. Your kids will thank you for it. Your partner, your employees, your business partner. You're going to be leading by example.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this guy is so well-rounded. He knows how to have fun and he knows how to do business, or he knows how to take his mission seriously. And he's so healthy. Man,
exactly.
He's radiating. He's radiating health.
Yeah. It's true.
Like, you can be that man that encapsulates all three as his standard. And sometimes we ebb and flow and like we'll come out of balance, but our standard is coming back to that.
Exactly.
You have that as a standard.
Well said.
I'm not just funny. I'm also very wise. It's good, huh?
Self-proclaiming. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, man. Anything else you want to say to add to the ending? No?
I think you hit the nail on the head, sir.
So what are you going to do for the rest of the day? Are you going to rest, work, or play?
I'm actually going to go for a walk.
Ah, so you're resting.
Yeah. I'm going to go for a walk. Which is a little bit of play for me too, just to be outside. So
nice,
get outside.
dude.
Yeah. You?
I'm going to jump in some water, like maybe the pool or drive out to the ocean and jump in the ocean, and hopefully there's not too much seaweed. It's the season where there's a lot of seaweed in Mexico. The water gets really stinky and brown, but If it's not too seaweedy, I'll jump in and splash around a little bit. So I'm going to be playing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
All right, bro. Well,
Okay, dude.
great session.
Great sesh.
Okay.
Awesome sesh. Catch you next time, everybody.
Yeah, guys.
Thanks for joining us on the one-on-ones with Yanuqua and Andy.